Did it go?
Yep.
There we go.
What's up?
Hey,
Good. How are you?
how you doing? I'm doing well. Okay, I'm gonna adjust my camera. Alrighty. So I was just giving the people that tuned in real quick a little introduction about who you are, fashion mogul, entrepreneur. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. So so
I'm
where
in
are you
St.
right
Louis.
now, currently?
Yeah. Cold.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, it's pretty cold up here. I'm in
Yeah,
Wilmington,
they've
Delaware.
been hitting the Midwest and the East Coast with a lot of cold weather, ice and all that. So, but all is
Right.
well.
So are you ready to get
Yes,
into
I am.
these questions? Did you receive the updated? I just added one more
I just
question.
responded when you sent that. So let me
It was just one question, but I didn't want to just like
okay.
drop anything, kind of like to be efficient. All right, so
Who am
who are you? Who is
a
Marlon
God?
Austin?
Now I say that. I said that because a lot of people unique are not ready for that, because of their belief system and being, knowing what the God is. But a
Right.
God could mean governor of dominion, right? Some people look at the Pope as a God because he has been governor over dominion for many years, that whole papacy and all that. But if you learn to master
Right.
yourself and you concentrate on you, then you are the God over you. Now, when I say God, I'm not talking about this grand being, this all intelligence, and people take that the wrong way. But I would like to first say that if you ask me who I am a God, meaning I've mastered myself. Now, outside of that, as a being that you see, I am a brother to two, identical twin brother, and a younger brother, and a son of two parents. So that's who I am.
That's awesome. And that's kind of what I was hoping for. So I'm glad you connected with the questions and understood the
Right.
assignment. So I
Okay.
appreciate that for real. Um, what do you do
Um,
for a living?
Everything that I enjoy, unique. I mean, basically, I've got the clothing brand that I've had. We're in our 29th year. I've got a vegan cheese company that I run with my family. We started that in 2012, and I do cryptocurrency, and I'm actually on the tail end of becoming a certified plant-based chef. You know, um, not saying that I want to go into that arena, but I felt that it was
Right.
important to add it to the repertoire of stuff that I do with the vegan cheese business. So. Mhm.
Right. So does it kind of like help you understand the business more, attaining something like that? Like, I guess like quality of stuff that you may want to
Well,
purchase for the
I mean,
company.
it's just so
Um,
I always go into this, you know, uh, the vegan journey was not an easy thing for me. I am a vegan, but people were trying to
right.
lead me, or the universe was trying to lead me there, but I wasn't ready yet. So when I look back,
Right. That's
right, when I look back
no.
on it, I everything was put in place, but I was ignoring all the signs. And so now I look at things in a different way. So with the plant-based chef thing, I really want to be able to communicate eating food the right way, not the way that we've been taught, right? And realizing that it's a proper way to eat cooked foods and raw foods and get the most benefit out of both. And eating them in their properly combined form, in the sense that we can eat healthy, but if we're miscombining certain foods, then we F up the digestive tract, and therefore we can cause other problems. And you're like, hey, I got off the Twinkies and the Oreos, but I still got all these health problems because we're miscombining food. So if it so if it
That's
doesn't
where I'm right
digest
now too.
properly, then we're still doing the body an injustice. So that's what the whole plant-based chef thing was, to gain a certification so that it shows that I know what I'm talking about. Although intuitively I already know what I'm talking about. I know it for a certainty, you know, because I've studied.
Right.
So what I'm really focused on, eating in an alkaline way that benefits the body, you know. And I know one of your questions, I'm going to get deeper into that because one of your questions asked me that, but I'll
Oh
wait for
yeah, go
you to
ahead.
get to that one, you know. Okay.
No,
Okay.
we're good. We could
So
flow. We could flow with it. I mean, we got them.
the connection between the brain, the third eye, unique, and the digestive tract. They say you have two brains. One is in the stomach, you know. So if you remove the parasites, if you clean
Right.
that up, and that's operating and functioning the way it should be, then you can be very in tune with what goes on, you know, and make the right decisions, you know. You're not making the decisions based on the parasites talking to you, but based on, you know, the oneness with the pineal gland and the digestive tract. So
Right.
that all plays a role. It won't work if the wrong things are in your stomach, if things cannot digest, you know. And
Right.
if your stomach is full of parasites, even if you're eating the right things, your body is not extracting the nutrients from it. So you can heal your body with food, you know. And so the idea is, how do you heal it with food? How do you combine foods like you would herbs? People are very into herbs now, taking the right herbs to heal the body, but you can use food to heal the body in the same way if it's properly combined. So
That's interesting. And that's interesting because, like, myself, you know, I lost all this weight, but yet I'm having like high
yeah,
blood pressure issues, you know, and I'm like, I'm cutting certain things out.
yeah.
Like, what's going on? It should have been the
Yeah,
opposite.
you
I
look
lost
great too.
65 pounds. So thank you. But I definitely can relate to that. And, you know, just relating to, like the processed vegan foods, like, Impossible or Beyond Meat. Like, I had to
It
understand, like,
does.
because it helps with the transition, but understanding that
Right,
that stuff is
right,
also processed.
right,
So
right,
it's like no good, right? Just because so understanding that everything that has vegan,
right.
that says
So
vegan, isn't good.
you, like you said, it's a good transition food to take you from eating meat to eventually not eating. But you can't stay on it forever. You can't eat
Right.
it every day, because when you look at the sodium content and the things that are in it, if you ate that every day, you might as well be eating meat. So eventually, you've got to.
Right.
When I became vegan, I've been a vegan for 11 years. So the only thing they had out
Wow.
at that time was a bunch of Morningstar stuff that was very soy based, tasteless. I better not say that, but it wasn't. I didn't like it, you know. So I wasn't. So I was in the kitchen cooking everything, making everything. You see, and that's what led to the cheese. It was my mother who created the cheese business, but you had to be in the kitchen creating your own food, so you control what was in it. Therefore, any health issues
Right.
were going to plummet, because you know every ingredient that's going into
Right.
your food, and eventually you will start enjoying it when you go out, you know, and you sit down at a place to eat dinner and you're not satisfied, one, with the price or the quality of the food. You're like, nah, I'll make it at home. So that's what I am, you know. So
Right.
it's horrible
Especially
right
the
now, right?
takeout. Like, I don't even like ordering stuff. I'm like, I can't eat from there. Like, y'all be just eating from everywhere. I be, you know, it's one safe place. I don't know
Yeah.
if you heard of Drop Squad. They're real big. Drop Squad is good. And maybe a few other places, but there's not a lot of good vegan places. My husband's brother, he's a vegan,
Okay.
so he'll come up and he'll cook. You know, we'll cook together and stuff like that. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So thank you for sharing that. All right, my favorite question. All right, Star Wars fan.
Absolutely.
Star Wars fan. So, what side are you on?
We
And
had this
explain
conversation
why.
on Clubhouse, right? back in the day.
I believe we have, you know, but you know, I got
Right.
to talk about it. I love
um,
Star Wars.
so like I said back then, I would say that I am a balance between both the Jedi and the dark side, you know, and it's the reason I say
Right,
that. Okay, so we take Star Wars, specifically the last three movies that they made, right? So in the last one, Unique,
right,
uh, Luke Skywalker says, "I know one thing for sure: the Jedi must end." So what was he talking about?
right,
If it was great, why would he make that statement? You know, and so organizations
right,
can be infiltrated. So are you married to the organization or are you married to the cause, right? And when you look back on things,
right,
right? When you look back on things, has the organization helped the cause? You see? And I think that was the point that was being made. So
right,
it's, you know, and also remembering, I choose the dark side because we have to remember that everything is in reverse anyway. So that blue lightsaber
right,
could mean deception, while that red one means the living being, you know. So I choose the dark side,
right.
but the balance is between the two.
Right. Like I definitely love the Star Wars too for the
Mhm.
esoteric, the light and the dark. And I also started thinking about the Siths and the Jedi as
Yeah,
like obsoletes. You know, like they were firm in their beliefs and one was this way, one was that way. You had to be disciplined in one way or another. But the middle path, you know, is not really
yeah,
obsolete. You're
yeah,
utilizing both, you know, and that's when I started getting into like the gray Jedi and stuff like that. But I absolutely love
yeah.
the dark side, like Anakin. He's one of my favorite characters. I love the turmoil that he goes through. You know, that whole story was just, I just love it. But yeah, so that's pretty
Let me
cool. So I just
let me
had
add
to
just one more
kind
thing
of
to
double
that.
back on that.
You know, the Jedi was focused on, hey, you can't let anger get to you, but anger is a part of emotion. So if you act like a robot, you will become a
Right,
robot. So as you said, the dark side,
right,
let the emotions flow. You can only let them flow, and only then when they flow, you can bring them into balance. But acting like they're not there is
right,
a trick, you know, in my so.
right. The Jedi mind trick. I actually have a Sith tattoo, and I feel like I mean, a Jedi tattoo. I'm gonna have to
Right.
get a Sith one to kind of balance out. All right, so what we got next? So how did you become successful as a fashion mogul and you know entrepreneur? Your vegan cheese company. Like, how did this
Well,
process happen?
well, let me start by saying, early on, when I was a child, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, showed me how to be in alignment, you know, and they showed me alignment by things that went easy or difficult for me, you know. So,
Mm,
for example, I could always tell that something was for me because it would go so smooth that would almost be unbelievable. You know, I mean, like no
mm,
speed bumps, no hiccups, just straight flowing. You know, and they showed me that throughout my
right.
life. You know, and so that was like my guiding gauge to use in life in order to do things. And so I would have a premonition to do something or a dream to do something unique, and I would do it. And if I met with
Mm,
resistance, I would say, well, maybe it's me, you know, and I try again. If I met with resistance again,
mm,
I would come back and re-examine and then try to do it a different way. And then if I met with resistance on the third try, I was like, that's not for me. So keeping that all in mind,
mm,
um, when I got into the fashion game, I just had a knack for it. And prior to being in the fashion game, I was a financial planner, and we'll talk about that shortly. But you had to look, you know, you begging people for money, so you couldn't look like a bum. I want your money, but I don't want your
right.
part. It's like Right. It's like a lawyer,
I
right?
feel
Right.
you.
A
You
defense
gotta
lawyer who
know how to
looks like a
work.
bum. You're like, nah, I'm not hiring him. He's not winning the cases, right? So
Right.
you have to look the part. So, and also my mother and father, they were dressers. So that was instilled in me. So I just got into the business and it started going very well. Now I did meet with resistance because in the beginning I was just selling to customers and I opened up a store, but I had higher dreams than that. So I wanted to design and sell to stores. And so when I went to New York and I was doing that, I was meeting all kind of resistance. It's going to be in a book. I'm still, for 17 years, I'm still on the second page, but I'm going to finish.
Oh
I'm
wow.
going to
It
finish
be
that
like
book,
that
but
sometimes.
it was a lot of resistance. And I had to, I did that re-examination period. I sat down and I was like, why is this happening? And I told my twin brother, I was like, listen, we've been at this XYZ. It's always some funny business with doing business. Let's go overseas. And I'll get into that in later detail too. And if that doesn't work, then we're going to get out of it. And he was like, okay, we'll go overseas. And when we went overseas, when we went to Europe and started doing business in Europe, smooth sailing, no resistance.
So what kind of country, like what specifically was it that made you say, no, let's take this overseas? Was it trying to market to people? Was it taxes related?
Well,
Like what was it?
specifically, what it was being so-called black in the fashion industry. They wanted to put they
Yeah,
wanted to
you
put
kind of
you
be talking
in
about that.
streetwear category, right? But Mark and I, we were
Mm,
high-end tailor clothing, and we were able to
mm,
do it well to the
mm,
degree that we were on the same level with the names and brands. And they were like, nah, we got a different
mm,
category for you. And I was like, nah, this is a category for us. And
mm,
so they showed us where they wanted to put us
mm.
by way of, you know, when we would do the trade fair, if you, and they weren't cheap, right? Because back then we're spending 10,000 for a booth, right? So if you,
Mm.
let's just say they have all the high end tailored clothing brands in one area, and that's where the buyers go in this trade fair. But then they put you down by comical accessories. Nobody's gonna see you,
Oh
or they
wow,
put you
right.
someplace and they don't. They leave off your brand name, so that when the buyers are searching for you, they
Wow.
can't find you. So I mean, buyers have a job. They still got to get
Wow.
back to work. They got to go to the fair. They got to do what they need to do. But if they
Right.
search in the fair constantly for you and they can't find you, and it was stuff like that. It was, I mean, more than that. I'm just giving you the shallow version of it. And
Right,
early
right,
on
right.
in the mid '90s, I had met a gentleman from Vienna, Switzerland, and he says I mean, and this is before the internet was taking off. So he's like, Marlon, I want you to come over. And I was like, you paying? And he was like, yeah. And he bought this ticket in
Mm.
2 days for me. So the following Tuesday, I was on a plane to Vienna,
Wow.
Austria. And so he says, yeah, I own all these factories. Now, I knew that he owned one or two factories. But he said, I own factories from Western Europe all the way to Eastern Europe. I was like, and he's making the clothing for
Mm.
Max Mara, Escada, all these high-end ladies brands that you know of, right? Mondi, everybody. And so
Right.
he says, I like your taste, I like your style. I have a group of tailors and machinery dedicated to high-end menswear. I want you to go and sell designer contracts to menswear designers in the United States. And I was like, I can do that.
Mm.
And so he says, now I'm at his
Wow.
house in Europe, and he says, I'm going to give you a minute. Think about what you want to get paid. And you write it on a piece of paper. I'll
Wow.
step out because I don't want to put any pressure on you. And he stepped out and I wrote it on there. He came back in. I handed him a sheet. He looked at it. He said, okay. And then I was like, I should ask for more. It went so fast like that, So, but that was it.
Right.
And through that, I got connected I started selling CMT contracts to a lot of designers that you know about in the United States today. And through him, I met a lot of factory owners, and they were very, very kind and considerate and willing to do business with me. And as I worked with this gentleman who was just a few years older than me, we were close in age, but he had amassed his fortune, and I was just impressed by it, what he accomplished. I was like his protege, I learned a lot, and
Right.
and I also learned that how America was doing things with regards to so-called black business people that wasn't happening in Europe. In fact, I was being embraced. And so when we parted ways, when we went our separate ways, he opened up the floodgates even more and called up the factories and said, you need to do business with Marlon. And that's the way it was. And to this very day, that was many years ago, I still do business with most of those factories. So that is what I'm talking about, Unique, when I say the universe had led me down a certain path, I thought the path was the way of the United States, but it was not. So I went where they told me to go, and it worked out for me.
That's awesome. And it's just like, just thinking back about our history as Black people, it seems like we always like had a better connection like overseas. I know when people, in the military and went to war and they came back, like that perception of Black people just like floods through like all the constructs and everything, to just kind of hearing it. And it's kind of a part of our history, and it's very, it's weird and absurd, how you can be, just praised or be able to do things that you can't do, like not even in your own country.
It's a lot of stuff that's been hidden in this country that they want to keep under wraps. And it's like a person that tells many lies. They got to keep a strong cap on those lies before they unravel, And so, in my opinion, that's what's been going on. And that's why moves are made so that the lie cannot be revealed the truth will not be revealed. The lie will be exposed, and the truth cannot be revealed. So that's what's been going on in so many ways, so many layers.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. Let's see what we got next. So I kind of threw this in there because I was watching an interview that Titus did on the Sky Society. So, and I'm realizing, because I'm an emoji talker too, but I just didn't like really realize it, being kind of out of touch sometimes with like how deep it is with these emojis. So, I wanted to ask you, like, what are your top 3 emojis?
I always use, and you see it. I always use the eye. I use that. I use the thinking emoji, pondering, and I always, you can say grateful or thankful. I use that. Those are probably the top 3 that I use, But I use them. So when Instagram first came out, Unique, everyone was using the emojis, right? I was like, okay, now we're getting back to signs and symbols, the original language, And it seems like it died off, but I continue to use them because I think you still can say more with a symbol than you can with words.
Yeah, and like Instagram used to try to get on you, like, because I'm not a commenter. Like, it has to be something really deep for me to, you can say so much with like a certain variety of emojis. Like, you put a few of them together, like you understand what's being said. And I think the algorithm has changed a little bit. I don't think they're necessarily trying to filter out like if you're using words per se, but like how you interact if you're commenting at all, because the emoji thing is a big thing, and it's continuing to grow like as a language. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So what habits breed success?
I don't want to generalize. I'm just talking about my habits, The
Right.
habits that I do, one thing I learned a long time ago was proper breathing, right?
Breathing is good. Look.
Breathing. Breathing. And breathing can bring down blood pressure, Unique. It can help calm situations. You know, the worst thing you can do is make an emotional decision. Emotions are not bad,
Mm,
but it's a time and place for them. And so when you're worked up,
right.
whether it be in a good way or a bad way, you're sad, you're envious, you're jealous, you're happy, you're intimidated, you can make wrong decisions. If you just take a moment to breathe
Mm,
and calm yourself, then you allow the air to get to the brain, right? And calm yourself, and then
mm,
you can make wise decisions. So the first thing I would say is
right.
proper breathing, right? The second would be
Mm,
meditation. And I would, when I first started doing meditation, I was like, I don't even believe this crap. I was like, but soon thereafter, it was working. So that allows me to be calm. Again, allows me to make wise decisions so that I can enter into decisions, stick with them, and complete them. And I would say the third thing is
mm,
proper eating. So I mean, if you're
mm,
loading yourself down with a bunch of chemically laced food, how can you make wise decisions? You may have made some, but eventually you won't be able to. Eventually you might not even be able to remember your name because you ate so many chemicals. So I make sure that I
mm.
eat right so that I can uh, make wise decisions. So breathing, meditation, and proper eating habits. And I know that's a fourth one, but I make sure that I get the needed rest. So I don't. I'm not
Mm,
kicking it all out hours of the night, because I got to get up most mornings anyway and get on the phone with people in Europe. So I can't be out to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and
right.
expect to be.
So it sounds like you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
like a
yeah.
routine
30 years
also,
of it.
right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. This is great. Let's see. So I mean, and we've been talking about it throughout the conversation, which is of course why we connect. But like, what does spirituality mean to you? Like, if you just want to elaborate and just explore more on what we've
Well,
already kind of tapped into.
to me, well, let's go back. I think the old way of spirituality, worshiping something outside of you, is over. Some people may still do that, but I think, in my opinion, spirituality is basically um, the process of learning who you are as a person, becoming one with you. Like, why you're here, what's your purpose for being here, you know will you fulfill that purpose. So that's how I view spirituality. Just, you know and you may learn that in different forms. Tarot cards, numerology, astrology, whether it be sidereal or but I think you will come to that.
Do you think that you can? Do you
Mhm.
maybe for your journey? Was spirituality a part of
I think.
that journey as far as like being successful and just you say
Mhm.
everything was aligned, and so like were you like always tapped into knowing who you are? Like, how did you become so developed and aware? Because it's very rare. I get so intrigued when I meet people who are just fully aware,
Mhm.
because there's not a lot of people, man, that
Yeah, yeah.
just know who they are. So like how did you like
Well,
what
well, I
how?
think as a child I was tapped in, but a lot of people was trying to get me off that track, saying that I'm too involved
Mm,
in this. I don't need to pay attention to this. So my great grandmother,
mm,
she was highly spiritual, and she went to church, but she wasn't a church goer. Does that make sense? I mean, so
yeah.
she knew what time it was, and she really taught that to my mother too. But then my mother got into religion, and then on my father's side, they were highly spiritual people, but they got into groups and religion as well. And I think it dulled the senses, you know. Now I'm still trying to find my way as I'm going along. And people are trying to get me choose this side, choose that side, you know, and I'm not listening to it. And then they were like, well, Marlon doesn't take anything seriously. Oh, I do. I'm just not taking what you say seriously, you know, because I'm going to find it for me. So remembering what my grandmother said, and well, first of all, my grandmother, you know, one of the things, and this was my great grandmother, right? So this woman raised my mother. My mother's mother was alive, but she was living in another city. But my great grandmother told me and my twin brother, because my younger brother wasn't born yet. She said, never let anyone convince you were a slave. Now, she was born in 1895, and she said, I don't know anything about slavery, right? And so she said her parents were not slaves. Now, if she was born in 1895, and she said her parents weren't slaves, and her grandparents weren't slaves, and her great-grandparents weren't slaves, so now we're into the 1700s. So somebody ain't telling the truth, right? So that had a profound effect on me with regards to how I thought about things. So as I moved along in life, things were being handed to me, and I was like, nah, I'm not buying that. I don't believe that. So I'm sticking with the way I'm being led, like I told you, this way. So if I got on this path and it was difficult for me, I would, you know, reevaluate, like I said earlier, and I would say, is it me? So let me reevaluate things, you know, and they just put me on a path, and I haven't, I'm not saying I'm like the greatest person, but what I'm saying is I do know who I am. I know what I'm here for, and I'm living it and I'm doing it. And that's all I can say, you know?
Right. And it just seems like people, even with my life, and you know, I'm not gonna say small achievements but I have achievements, but it just seems like people who are self-assured in themselves, are more individualistic, have critical thinking skills, good judgment and reasoning. I'm noticing, you know, working with people and being a leader in the corporate world and, you know, doing it in my personal business, that like a lot of people aren't equipped with these things, you know, and the more equipped that you are with those tools, especially goal completion, like a lot of people don't complete goals. They don't even know the steps to complete them. So like if you have these tools, it just seems like you're better aligned for success, and it just enhances whatever your journey is, you know. So like would it be different if you really weren't equipped with those tools, you know? And I sort of think about that. So I just really just kind of paying respect, just to you know, your process, your journey, your wisdom. I appreciate it so much, and it just kind of confirms and affirms everything that I am doing and everything that I need to continue to be doing. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely appreciating
So I'm going to add this last thing to that, Unique. So with all that being said and done, I was never afraid of what came to me, because, you know, your friends, your circle tells the world who you really are, right? And so like within spirituality, your circle of friends will tell the world who you are. So when the religions deem certain things as being demonic or, you know, satanic and everything, I didn't buy that, because that was not my experience with it, right? So I'm not going to have negative beings around me, because I don't bring those people to me in the living being that I am right now. That's not my energy. So therefore, I'm not going to have problems with them. So listening to what my great grandmother told me and following that path was one of the things that just, when you said stick to itness and completion, I was just like, I'm on this path and I'm going to do it. And also, I saw a lot of people have wonderful ideas in life, and they would start and not complete it. And I never wanted to be that person, because I'm like, if the universe gave you an idea and they drop something in your lap and then you move forward with it and you don't complete it, what are you saying to them? You know, so if they gave you the idea and they led you to this point, then you've got to complete it. So there is no quitting, you know. And if things get difficult, you just go to the next uh, phase of it, you know, because there's levels to every route. You know what I'm saying? If we're going from the East Coast to the West Coast, you might be unique. Marlon, I take this way all the time. I said, well, we're going over the Rockies and down into the valley, and we're going to come up this way. So it's 2 ways to go, or 3 ways, or 4 ways, just as long as we get there.
Right.
And what's easier for Unique may not be easy for Marlon, and vice versa. So that's how we do it.
That's awesome. All right. So now we're getting into the finances, the financial aspect. How did you get into cryptocurrency?
That goes back to what I was saying. So before I got in the fashion industry, me and my twin brother were financial planners. We worked for companies, and then we got tired of them taking our sandwiches and giving us a bite. So we started our own financial planning industry. But I made money in that, but I didn't like it, you know. So I like the fashion industry, you know. And so when I got out of the financial planning industry, I did enjoy learning how to make money work, you see? So I always handled my own money and made it work for me. And made it work for me. And so I wasn't going to find a financial planner because I'd already done that. I know what they do, you know, so I can handle my own money. And most people that allow other people to handle their money sometimes in the end don't end up with any money. So I want to make sure I could handle my own money. So when I started the fashion business, I was into mutual funds, and we saw the culmination of that in 2000, 2001. And I put money in that and made money in that. And but along the way, the mid 90s, I started trading commodities, because in my viewpoint, those were real tangible things that everyday people use.
So what does that mean, real quick, for everybody that may not really understand?
So commodities
commodities
are pork bellies, wheat, soy, coffee, things of that nature. These are tangible food items that everybody in the world, everybody basically eats. You know, some people might not eat pork belly, but you know, but the point is they're traded on the Chicago Board of Exchange. You know, that was you know, and so I would trade commodities future contracts and commodities option contracts, and you could make money leveraging options at small investments, but then have the potential of making a lot of money. You can make a whole bunch of money off futures, and I did that. I think all the way until 2000. I was actually showing guys how to make money, you know, doing that. And so after the whole .com thing, I said, well, let me get into trading currencies. And I did that until about 2016. So in 2016, you know, I was making money trading the currencies, but I saw Bitcoin. And I'm like, this is where everyone's making money. This is 2016. This is early 2016. I had saw a documentary on Bitcoin, but didn't know about Bitcoin yet. But from the trading currencies, I'm like, this is where all the money is going in Bitcoin. And I'm seeing Bitcoin just go like that. And it would be a few dips, but not to the degree it is now. It's manipulated, and I'll talk about that. But it was on a rise, and I was like, let me get into this. So I started trading it, and I started making money. So by 2017, I started buying Bitcoin, because in 2016, I was just a trader. I'm just speculating. I'm taking the highs and the lows, making money off of that way. But in 2017, I actually started buying Bitcoin. So.
Let's see here. So kind of want to explain what cryptocurrency is and how does it work?
Cryptocurrency is just another form of currency. It's similar to the US dollar. It's just not cash. You just can't physically touch it. But very rarely do we physically touch cash anyway in this day and age. You know, you go to the store, you use a debit card or a credit card, and you're exchanging, and we don't see what's going on. It's just electronic numbers being passed back and
Right.
forth. So in reality, it's the same thing. But the difference is you are in control of it, and it's not controlled by a centralized entity. When
Right.
I would talk before I started these platforms about cryptocurrency. On my Bespoke Couture Twitter page, I would always ask, how can you be mono and poly? Now, I've been asking that since 2016. I would constantly tweet that, right? And so a monopoly, right? And they have a monopoly on money. How can one be both mono and poly? So
Right.
I always looked at it like this, you get these people that come from a far eastern land that come over here, and they're going to say, this is the money we're going to use, and everybody in the world has to use it. And if you don't use it, if you don't do what we say, we're going to put sanctions on you so you can't do business. Now, when those same people came over here to this country, this landmass, Indians were already trading. But they were trading things that they made, goods they made. You might have had a guy who could grow good corn and one who could make canoes, but they were already doing business, right? So this idea of creating this money and monopolizing it, in my opinion, has been a trick. And when you look at the history of money, how has it served us? It serves some, but as a whole, how has it served? So what goes up must come down. So we're at the end of that that era of the dollar bill. In fact, prior to the dollar bill, if you look throughout history, it was people traded many things. There wasn't a one sovereign currency, and if I don't like your politics, if I don't like what you say, I'm gonna put some type of sanction on you so you can't do business. I'll starve your people out. No, that's not how it's supposed to be. That's control. That has nothing to do with money.
We've even had some leaders who maybe have tried to. I know there was an issue like something like greenbacks with Lincoln, and Kennedy maybe was trying to get into getting out of that centralized, money stuff with the IRS and the Fed.
Well, I think they were all on the right track. I think they were ahead of their time. The time was not on their side. I think time is on everyone's side because nothing's going to stop it. You see, and the reason nothing is going to stop it is because you cannot create a world based on debt. Specifically, the what's the word I want to use? Collateralization of debt. So I'm going to say Unique bought a car, and we're going to make it be that we lended her the money, but in reality, they didn't lend you anything. When Unique went into the dealership and she signed on a piece of paper, then she created the loan. They collateralized it and they put it on the open market to be sold. The original paperwork is gone because somebody else bought it 3 days after. They waited until that 3 days, you have 3 days to cancel contract. So after that 3 days, they packaged that bad boy up, sent it on the open market as a debt instrument, and it's off to who knows where. And you got to pay. So they never gave you any money. So if you're not making anything and you just build up a whole system of debt, then whatever money that was on top of that is going to collapse. And that's where we are. So.
This is deep. And it's just like, why were we born in these times? Like, it's
we have to come
times.
Back
here. Like, it's just really... I know, it's like, I be fighting with that all the time. Like, why? It's just, I don't know. And I was born in 82. So I'm an older millennial, but I still feel the changes of like the times, like with the technology and the cryptocurrency. And for me, And I'm a pretty, outgoing person. I'm a leader in, the corporate world. Like, it'd be overwhelming. It'd be overwhelming. So I can imagine
Yeah.
like how older people feel. Sometimes I struggle with like learning technology and being up to date with it. But now with the position I'm in,
Yeah.
I have to manage a database, like, and I have to learn, like, and it's just, it's a lot, and it
Yeah, yeah,
moves
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
fast.
Well, my brother, I see he just put something up here. I can't go back, but he said, read the book. Um, I think it's Modern Money Mechanics. I think that's what he put up there, which is a good book to help you understand that no
Okay.
one's really ever lent you any money, whether it be a mortgage, a car note, a credit card, any of that. Once you understand that, you
Right.
look at money in a different way, and so you look at debt in a different way. And so I'm not telling people how to live, but if we were not in debt, we would have a better quality of life, because it's a lot of stress to think about how
Facts.
am I going to make sure I pay this, when we live in a society unique that every 7 to 10 years there's a boom bust cycle, boom bust. So that brings up to us to I might be rich and now I'm poor. Not even the time span is not even within decades now. So, and it affects us all. I don't care what kind of business you have. I don't care if you're sitting on $1 million plus. When you go through the bust cycle, you are affected because people are not circulating the wealth anymore. So it affects you in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a system. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, me and my husband have made our way to six figures. This is the second year. Like, I'm so blessed. First of all, I didn't know what it helped break an illusion of what it's supposed to look like. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I don't live in a mansion. Like, I don't own my car. Like, it really helped us understand, like, okay, we can pay our rent, we can pay all our bills, we have food to eat out, there's still more things that we want, but this is what six figures looks like. So it breaks an illusion. And the credit card industry, like,
Yeah.
it gets the middle class people, because I gotta pay my credit cards down. I was doing real good. I was doing real good for a while, but sometimes like emergencies happen, life crises happen, where you've got to utilize those
Yeah.
cards, and then you're stuck in that
Yeah.
debt. If you don't pay more than what they're asking for the monthly, you're just like barely making the interest payments. So that's something to think about too. And it's kind of easy to get caught up in that, even, when you start making more money, let me see here. So like, how should us, and I want to start just by saying, like, so I live in town, I got a nice 6-bedroom house, but we do live in town, our area, our block is good, but there's a store on 4th Street down here. It's a neighborhood store, a ghetto store, a hood store, and I wanted to go get money out of there, and they had like a cryptocurrency, like, trading machine right next to the ATM, and I was like, wow. In my conversation with Titus, like, I really didn't understand and realize how much the younger generation is using cryptocurrency. But like, for me, people like me who really don't understand, like, I have it, I buy Bitcoin when I can, and I have a wallet, but ultimately I just want to know, like, what does it mean for regular people? How serious should we take it? Like, what's the benefit in us trying to invest and getting educated in cryptocurrency?
I'll start with the first question. We should take it very seriously, because I'll go back to what I said earlier. If you looked in the crystal ball and you could see into the future, you would see the future. And we can see the future now by what we look at, right? What is being produced in the United States? Manufactured. What's
As
produced?
far
Nothing
as,
really. Everything goes to China.
yeah, we outsource.
Right,
Everything's
right.
pretty much
It's
outsourced, right?
outsourced to China. And so then they said, when they did all that, they said, well, United States will become like a service industry where, we're going to have customer service. And then they outsource that. So that's why you talk to foreign people when Yeah, you know. So the United
Right.
States produces nothing. So the GDP of the United States is not even real. It's not. It's fake. It's all made up, right? And
Right.
so,
Wow.
just like the inflation numbers are made up, because you know that can of tomato sauce was $1 in 2019, and then in 2022 it's $5.99. So when they say, oh,
Right.
inflation is 6%, no. So you've got a country that produces nothing, with all these people who need jobs in order to pay for car loans and house loans and utilities and all that and consume, right? We're
Consume.
consuming, but we're running out of steam. And so then on the backs of that, we can't consume because we have no more money. So we're going to give you debt. And then that debt drives up the national debt, but there's no way to pay it because you don't have the jobs to pay it. So it's like an endless cycle of misery. Looking at that is the reason why the dollar is over. They just have not announced it, but people who have the eyes to see know.
Right.
And so cryptocurrency, if you went to bed tonight, Unique, and you had a dream that tomorrow when you woke up, they would announce on the news that the dollar is finished, and you had an opportunity all this time to buy other currencies that will be in use, now is the time to do it. So if the dollar holds no value, it's important that you take those dollars and put it in something that does hold value or something that makes money. And I mean, it doesn't have to be cryptocurrency, but it's our time to be ahead of the curve instead of behind it, you know? So if we take it seriously, right, then we can participate in a new money revolution that will benefit us. They convinced us that the shared economy was Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, and all this stuff, only to find out that they're taking your sandwiches and giving you a bite once again. But the real shared economy will be Web3, cryptocurrency, all these decentralized platforms, you know, even spending time like we are right now. Imagine we're spending time talking, having a conversation, but imagine the length of time that we spend in this IG moment. Money is deposited into our digital wallet because we're on Web3, instead of Google packaging up our data and selling it to an advertiser, because that's what's been happening. So you know, I hear all this talk about cryptocurrency is the new world order and all that. No, it's not. But a collective conscious can create anything that they want to come in existence, because what you fear, you create. So if we're always thinking about, you know, then it's going to become a reality, you see? So don't think like that. Look at the benefits of cryptocurrency. Okay? And I always look at the benefits of Web3, the benefits of cryptocurrency. I mean, we could take, for example, these truckers in Canada, right? So the truckers say, whether it's fake or real or whatever, they say, we're going to protest this vaccination, right? Or I better not say that. We're going to protest this, you know, and they raise this money and on these different platforms, and then the government backs it, blocks it from them receiving it. So who can block your crypto wallet? Who can get the money out of your crypto wallet? Nobody. And so you should have always had custody of your money. You know, we got these people playing big brother and big sister, like you are not intelligent enough to understand how to deal with your money. So you need a middleman to work you through handling your money. So it's easy to put money in the bank, but try to get it out and see what happens. You see?
And then they charge you for holding your money. And then you can't get it out when you want to. And then you can't carry a certain amount legally, or you're going to go to jail. They're going to take your money and use it for whatever stuff they're going to use it for.
And try to move overseas or something. And then send a wire transfer of money to another country and see what happens. So all this way, and this was all control factors to keep people in their place. But those days are over. So, you know, I look at the positive side of crypto, not the negative, you know. And I think we as a people should be very involved in it. We should be looking at NFTs, because NFTs It's not about, you know, crypto punks and bored apes. That's just it always has to be a gimmick to get you in, right? And, right,
Or
right. And
mainstream
so
kind of idea.
that pull you in, but NFTs will represent the tokenization of things. Like you and me and some other people want to buy this apartment building, right? So we create a trustless software program, trustless, meaning we don't need a lawyer or courts to get involved. The algorithm is going to do what it needs to do to make sure you get your monthly cut, I get mine, and other people involved are in there. So we need to look at the positive things that's going to happen with crypto, not the negative things, because we don't want the negative things to come about. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so kind of to go back to, you know, purchasing cryptocurrency, like to my understanding, like Bitcoin and things when they first started out, they were very, very cheap to purchase. Some people were buying like $20 here, $30. Some people was putting 500, whatever they could afford. But nonetheless, it seems like even if you put $10 or $20 down on a Bitcoin, when it hit that peak, when people realized, like, people made a lot of money. So, like you pointed out the other day in your story, that cryptocurrency was a
Gala, Gala, Gala.
Gala.
So,
Right. And so I see it's pretty low to purchase. So I purchased some of it, you know.
Right. And so I gave that hint because you know, I have to first say, as disclosure, I'm not a financial planner and this is not investment advice. Everything that you do is based on your own free will. It's not that I'm giving it to you. But, you know, I have a Patreon page where you know, people can pay a monthly fee and it shows exactly what I'm heavily invested in, you know. And I made the statement that, you know, if people follow my moves, as long as I've been in crypto, that they haven't lost any money. I haven't lost any, you know. So again, I don't make emotional decisions based on, you know, hoopla thrown in the air. I look at the fundamentals of a project. I read the white paper. I see who sits on the board if I can. I see who the developers are. I see who was behind it. How is this technology going to benefit people, you know? So, you know, in February 2021 or January 2021, I created an NFT and I posted it on our fashion page to let people know that this was the future. And then shortly after that, you saw NFTs take off with all this artwork. But that is not the future of NFTs.
Right.
NFTs will be the real shared economy, the tokenization of different things. The program that keeps the middleman out of your pocket. The program that stops you from getting ganked, as they say, you know. So and in this.
Okay, I'm kind of understanding now. It just kind of like sunk in a little bit as you were saying that. Looking past the picture aspect of it in the artwork.
I mean, they had to get the way it works with the artwork is traditionally, and Candace just said something about ETH, Ethereum. I'm going to touch on that in a second. But the whole point is that when an artist would sell a piece of art, you know, they would sell it to a gallery. That's the middleman. The gallery then sells it. All right. The gallery makes the money. The gallery paid the artist for whatever. That's the end of the deal. With an NFT,
right?
I sell a piece of art to you. You sell it 5 years later to another art collector. Well, it was minted on the blockchain that every time this piece of artwork is sold, I'm going to get 10, 20, or 30% of it. So the original artist is always paid. So now you can see the benefit of artists, rap artists, you know, people in the music industry bypassing the record industry and creating their album on an NFT so that they get all their royalties and always get paid. Because no matter what type of contract they sign, unfortunately, they always get taken advantage of. And they never get their money. And they got ways to do it legally because they're all in the same club writing legalese contracts to make sure
and they're writing the laws and the policies. You know,
Right.
and we're not even going to get into, you know, and Kanye brings up a big point, and I always thought about that, like the hip hop culture, like whose culture really is that? You know, as far as like who's running that industry and the gatekeepers and the
Yeah.
people that are
Yeah.
paying the artists, you know, who's behind these holding the
Right.
concerts, the people that run the things, you know, is it
Right.
art? Is it our culture? Or is it their culture? Because they're regulating what we can express in hip hop, and the people that do express things like Titus and, you know, other people that express like, you
Right.
know, empowerment, Prince, you know, they get blackballed, you know, Michael Jackson, and they
Yeah.
get restricted or whatever. So, you know, it's just an interesting, you know, thing I wanted to bring out as far as like, you know, just to have people wonder, like, is it really our culture? Is hip hop really, you know, I mean, we know it is, but like, who's running
Well,
it
I
now?
believe
Is it
it's
our
still our
culture now?
culture. We have to stop um, giving our culture away for FRNs, you know, fiat notes, because ultimately you've got a creator and a person with some paper money. The person with the paper money gives the creator some money that never really takes care of him. He gives him a lot of money because he knows that the creation is worth more than the money. And the creation will go on throughout history. And right. And so
Timeless.
the guy with the money bags gives the creator some money. The guy with the money bags family is taken care of forever. The guy who got the money probably won't have money to retire on, yet he created everything that people's making money on. So I'm a fan of keeping all intellectual property. I'm not a fan of selling out anything. You know, people would say, "You're going to sell your cheese business? Why?" Now, when I'm gone, if the people decide to sell it when I'm no longer here, that's their business. But I'm not selling it. Why? How many black
Right.
vegan-owned cheese companies do you know? So it needs to be right. So,
Mm,
and I know I make a good
bars.
cheese and it tastes better than anything on the market. So why would I sell it? Right. Now, if I
Bars.
sold it, I would put so much stuff in there that I got paid forever on a monthly basis forever, and it would be in the trillions of dollars, which they probably wouldn't agree to. You know, and so
Right.
that's my mindset on everything. If I know the dollar is ending, why would I be in a hurry to take money? So what would you rather
Mm,
have land or money? If money is ending, I'd rather have land.
mm.
Would you like to have an invention or money that's ending? I'd rather have the invention because the invention is going to be worth something. So that's how I view things, you know.
Right.
I want to say something about what Candace said.
Right.
Ethereum, ETH.
I'm
Go
sorry, can I
ahead.
let my dog out real quick? He's like knocking on the door. Let me let him out so he can stop scratching the door, getting on my nerves.
Okay.
Hold on, you always interrupt something. Don't come back. All right, thank you. He's so spoiled.
So Candace said, what about ETH?
Alrighty.
Ethereum is still pretty low. It should be much higher than it is. But again, Bitcoin is highly manipulated. Bitcoin started being manipulated in January of 2018. When Bitcoin was on the rise and hit 17,000 in December 2017, the pirates had to come in to stop that train, you see. So they were able to trade futures contracts. And so when Bitcoin goes down, it pulls everything with it. They can manipulate Bitcoin, but they can't manipulate other cryptocurrencies because they are not able to trade cryptocurrencies.
Mm.
So with all that being said, Ethereum is very important to get into because Ethereum is like the gas for every cryptocurrency. Now there's new blockchains being formed and coins have been made off those. But for the most part, every currency out there is an ECR20 coin developed from the Ethereum blockchain. And
So I can catch on real quick because that was the first time I ever heard of that. So major cryptocurrencies can have
okay,
like subsets.
so like
Is what
Bitcoin,
you're saying?
it's its own token, its own currency, its own blockchain. Right.
Right.
So what's
Okay.
happening now is the word, if I can get it out, interoperability, right? Where if I can bring this in, where coins can operate on different blockchains instead of just on their blockchain.
Okay.
Because currently Bitcoin
Okay.
has its own blockchain, and that is what it works on. But to be very functional,
Right.
it needs to be able to work on many different blockchains, not just its own, right? And so
Okay.
when you look at Ethereum, Ethereum is its own token with its own blockchain as well. But most of the coins have been mined or created rather on Ethereum's blockchain. I mean, we created 2 coins, and that was, I'm talking about being connected, you know, where I got these dreams to create these coins.
Right.
And I was like, so why? And they wouldn't let me sleep in peace until I created them. But now I understand. Now I was far ahead, and I was like, what am I supposed to do with these coins? And now I know exactly what to do with them as we enter the metaverse. And the metaverse is not going to be about playing games, like I said. You know, I mean, it'll be some people doing that, but that's not what the metaverse is going to be about. But if every coin,
Right.
not every, but a large percentage of coins are created on the Ethereum network, Unique, then it would be wise to invest in Ethereum, because that's like the gas for the other coins to work, you know. So I would be in.
So does it kind of work? Because I look at stuff like computers sometimes. Like, is it like permissions really, or is that not correlating? Like, as far as stuff operating
Well, you understand
with each
permissions,
other,
right?
like,
In the computer world, you understand permissions, right? So
right.
in Ethereum, so take that knowledge about permissions, right? So I can't use Ethereum on blockchain, on Bitcoin blockchain. You understand that? Because they don't operate together, right?
Right.
So when
Okay.
Bitcoin was created, its own blockchain was created too. And so when Ethereum was created, its own blockchain was created. And Ethereum was open source in the sense that you could create your own coins based off the Ethereum network. And that's what people have done. I mean, you got Shiba Inu. You got many coins. I can go through them. Let me just go through them. I'm just going to give them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So that's like a network. Okay.
I'm just going to go
Okay.
through a few.
Cool.
But you got, here we go. You got Shiba Inu coin, MTV, Motivac, Saitama, Telcoin, Dent. All these coins are based off the Ethereum network. So they need Ethereum in order to work. And some of these projects are going to do very well. So if I was a wise person, it's like you playing a game of Monopoly, right? Everybody wants the utility companies, everybody wants the railroads, right? Then it would be wise, a wise person would look at Ethereum and say, I'm buying some Ethereum, you know. Now, Ethereum has to scale up. They've got to be able to, because you know how technology goes. You're in that industry. It moves fast like lightning. So you got to keep up. So Ethereum has to scale up to be able to do different things because of their gas fees being expensive, or otherwise, you know, Cardano and these other coins are going to come in and just wreak havoc on them. So they're going to have to do something.
So what are gas fees? Because I've been seeing that, like, is that the juice that's needed to make the trade for it to go through the blockchain, the steps?
For instance, if you went on an NFT platform and you wanted to buy a piece of art, the piece of art might be 0.001 ETH, Ethereum, right? So let's just say it's $25 in US dollars, right? Then you go to check out and the gas fee is $200. So now, in order to get this piece of art, it costs you $225. So what happens is most people are like, what? $25 plus 200? No, I'm not doing that. And so they just log out and get off. And that's what happened during this whole time when NFTs took off. The gas fees for Ethereum went crazy. Even sending money from one platform to the next, you know, or doing some swap outs, the gas fees, like swapping an ERC20 token for something else, the gas fees would be crazy, you know. So that's their dilemma right now. How do we fix this? Well, they got to scale up and bring it down, because the whole point of cryptocurrency is to be, one, anonymous, not to be centralized, and then two, to make transactions affordable, where they're a minute percentage of a cent. But when you're paying $200, $300, $400, $500 for something that costs you $15, you know, that's very expensive. And that creates issues with making cryptocurrency successful.
So that's just interesting thinking about that on the data and the building it, you know, the formulas and whatever processes they're using to kind of formulate that. Because I'm kind of interested, like, what are they, you know, what formulas are they using to correlate
I've been
that?
trying to
That's
figure
really
it out. I don't
interesting.
know. Well, I knew. Okay, so proof of stake and proof of work are two different things, right? Proof of stake is what they've been working on, and now they want to go to proof of work, if I'm saying it correctly. Sometimes I get twisted because a lot of stuff is coming in my head because my brain is moving faster than my mouth. But you know, but
Right, that's okay.
so if they move to proof of work, that's a group of people that verifies the transaction rather than a stake on the blockchain, if that makes any sense, you know. And so they claim that the
Right.
miners have to do a lot of work on the blockchain. But I can't anticipate it being that much work where the fees are that high, you know. I mean, I know a lot of people.
Right, because it's all technology based, and if they have formulas and things to, like, because even if
Yeah,
they said it was like
right.
labor based,
Yeah.
like it's clicking. I mean, now granted, well, I mean, it's already built. I could see the maybe is it predetermined labor from like when it was being built? You know, maybe they're throwing that on like the time. I mean, I don't know how long it takes to actually create a working cryptocurrency.
I don't
I don't know.
know.
I'm
I
just
mean,
throwing things out
you
there.
know, and that's why I was like, I'm not going to get beat. I'm not going to pay these exorbitant fees, and I'll just wait things out, you know. And I created the NFT because I knew where NFTs were going, not where they are now. So I was laying, in my mind,
Right.
laying the foundation for what was to come, and I still know what's coming with them. But I was like, nah, I'm not paying $200 and $300 and $400 for Ethereum fees. So I'll wait till something is put on Cardano, or I'll take $300, $400, $500 and invest in Ethereum before I give that away as a fee. Because if the fees are going to be like this for the next
Right.
1, 2, or 3 years, I want to make sure that I'm investing in Ethereum, because that 500 can turn into 20,000 or 50,000 or 100,000.
Right.
You know, so that was my mindset.
Mm. So it was interesting, and like because I always get into stuff. What's
Sagittarius.
your sign, by the way? Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. No wonder why. Okay. So I'm December, early December, but I always dabbled in stuff, even if I didn't understand what it was. I always had like wallets, and I know I was investing in something called like
Yeah.
Ripple at one point, and just playing around, and I was just throwing $20, $10, $5 here. Um, Still not understanding the process, but I've always learned whenever people start talking about things to try to get into it. So, you know, and sometimes I would lose wallets, find stuff back, like I had Coinbase and all these other platforms. But so kind of explain a crypto wallet to people. If you can explain like how to trade, like I said, I was just throwing stuff at the wall. I really didn't know what I was doing. You know, were those good ideas to kind of just throw money on things and see how they move and just try to trade different things? Like, and also, what would be the best wallet to use?
First, before I answer those questions, I hope you still have your XRP, and I hope you have kept it, because that's you need to find that computer or whatever.
I invested in it and I didn't know like when it was
I know.
worth literally nothing. That's like
So
the
you can
thing I was
imagine what
trading the
if you
most.
invested $5 in an XRP, how many coins you have. You can imagine how much it's worth right now,
Oh my
right?
God. Oh.
You can find that. You should be
Oh
able to locate that,
man.
because wallets are, as long as you can remember the phrase, the 12 words.
I think I might have sold
Oh,
it
you
all
sold
off
it?
though. I think I sold it off before I started because I was like putting it into Bitcoin
Yeah.
or I don't know,
Well,
something I was doing. But
okay.
I know I was working with Ripple, but I just didn't understand
Um,
why.
the best wallet to have is a decentralized wallet. Okay, and there are
Okay.
decentralized wallets that you can get. For instance, Trust Wallet is a decentralized wallet. MetaMask
What
is a
about
good wallet too.
MetaMask?
Yeah. Uh, Um, I
Okay.
like Trust Wallet because a lot of things can be done with Trust Wallet right in the wallet itself. You know, um, but if you want some protection and you want a centralized wallet, then a Coinbase wallet would be good for you. Um, Crypto.com has a DeFi wallet. I mean, that you can, if you have an iPhone, you can get the Crypto.com app, the exchange app on your phone, and then you can download the DeFi wallet. So I always, I think it's like bank accounts. Like a wallet is like a bank account. A wallet is like where you secure your money. It's what we call the new bank account. Yet there is no middleman, so only you control it. Only you
Mm,
have the right to take money out
mm.
of it and put money into it, right? You control every aspect of it. So, but I believe that you should have a combination of both centralized and decentralized wallets. And there are insurance plans that protect you from losing your money in case the platform gets hacked. Most people don't know about it, but you can find out who those companies are. And you can choose to pay a fee to make sure that if it happens, you're protected.
Is Cash App a wallet? Because you can trade and buy currency, stock, and cryptocurrency with Cash App. Would
It's
that be
not a
considered a
wallet, but the
wallet?
good thing about Cash App is you can buy Bitcoin right on the app. Now, if you have a wallet, you can send it right from that program or application to a digital wallet, such as Trust Wallet. Another decentralized wallet is Atomic Wallet, and these are wallets that are on the App Store if you have an iPhone, but they're on if you have what's the other one, Samsung, stuff like that. Uh, you can download those from the Play Store as well. You know, but that is what secures your money. But the ultimate security of protecting your digital coins, or what is known as a cold wallet. So Ledger, the brand Ledger, Ledger, is a cold wallet. It's like a USB that goes in the side of your computer, and you take your wallet, I mean your coins, off a computer, and it's in this ledger, or this little device,
Mm,
and that way. And then like Gemini Exchange offers cold custody, where they take your money and they store it inside a cold storage, and they're able to do that. I think Gemini is
mm.
one of the most secure exchanges, but they're very conservative. So a lot of opportunities to get involved in coins where you can make money, they're kind of slow with getting them. So then you have to go to uh,
Mm,
uh, exchanges like Coinbase and crypto.com. But even where people are making like money right now when the market is down, you normally have to go to a decentralized platform where you do swap outs. And that's where those fees come into play. Because the only way, because you're an American citizen, the only way to get those coins is to get onto a decentralized platform, swap a token out
mm,
for another token in order for you to buy that coin. But tomorrow you could be a millionaire. And I'm going to add this one thing too.
mm.
Cryptocurrency, cryptocurrency can make you a lot of money, but you need to get beyond it making you a lot of money. If one currency is going down, make sure you have another one, because everybody wants to. Well, how much is Shiba Inu or Dogecoin or this coin worth in US dollars. If US dollars is going out the door, it doesn't matter. The reality, if you're sitting on 4 billion Dogecoins, right, then that's all that matters. And if you start looking at it that way, you appreciate it more, not what is valued in US dollars. Yeah, we all want to get a lick, but the idea is that you get that dying currency, known as the US dollar, out of your hands. You buy some property, you buy a business, you buy some silver or some gold, Steve, and that's really been manipulated too. But you find a way to put those US dollars into something that won't lose value in some kind of form of fashion, and that will save you, in my opinion. So.
Right. I mean, we used to be backed by gold
until 1971. Right? Yeah. And so and even when you look at that, Unique, it's like, what has been the plan all along, you know? And so when people say, well, this is the new world order and everything, well, how so? Because no one wants to give up. If I've been the bully on the block, I'm not going to set a plan in place to be removed as a bully. I'm not going to set that plan in place, you know, because I get the benefits of being the bully, you know. So it has nothing to do with that. And it's really about taking it out of the hands of a centralized source. And even when people in the crypto industry talk, we need regulation and all that, I don't pay attention to those people because I don't trust them, because that's not what cryptocurrency was about. And they're playing for another team, acting like they're on your team. In reality, you know, you'll find that most of the hacks are inside jobs anyway. You know? So I mean, you know, really, no one has really lost any money. It's all media hype, you know. If I own the media machine, I can come up with grandiose stories. But when you really get down to it and you know what's going on, no one has lost any money. They tell you, this deep finance platform, I put $1 million in and lost it overnight. I never heard of it. I can't even find it. I mean, who are you talking about? You know, so these are just stories put out there, used as fear-mongering tools to get you not to put your money in there, to keep a dying system alive, you know.
And this all kind of ties into even, you know, them putting the word out there, conspiracy theory. Like, they made it so normalized that now these conspiracy theories are actually no longer theories, like, you know, but it canceled out a lot of people for a long time. That term, you know, conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So it's just interesting the tactics that they use, and just me learning more about regulation, you know, and then people imposing things. Even if we want to, I don't want to get too much into politics, but just seeing the sides play out, you know, and one side wants more regulation and one side wants less restriction and we can do anything we want to do. It's like, what's going on here? Wait a minute, you know? So it's really interesting. And people just need to start thinking about these things, you know, regulating, people trying to regulate you, and just, you know, and this is pretty much what my practice is about. This is why we kind of connect, which is identifying who you are in life, what you stand for, you know, and that way you'll be able to make moves accordingly, you know. And, you know, if you feel strongly about things that are being regulated, you'll find ways, you know, to work around those things or work towards, you know, not being in that that stature. And like, one thing that I commend about Kanye, it's kind of like he broke the money paradigm, you know, like anywhere he goes, like he's going places and people are like paying him and his money is no good, you know. So it's just amazing to see, you know, Black people, you know, not only has he attained money, but now his money is no good. You know, he's literally a brand where he can cover his face and everybody in the world knows where he is. Like, he is the value. You know, he's his own NFT or token or whatever we talking about. And it's just like, I get so excited about it. You know, hopefully whatever my life path is, you know, whatever I'm here to do, because I still feel like I'm not quite there yet. But
I think you're on the right track.
And Oh, I appreciate it. And I definitely appreciate this conversation. I appreciate the energy connection for real. I mean, you have so much wisdom, knowledge, gained experience. And you're a person of color. So, and this is, are we still in February? Black History Month. I'm not
Right.
really on that, but with my business and everything, just taking the opportunity. And I'm with Kanye, like, yes, let's talk about the
Yeah,
history,
yeah.
but let's talk about the future. Like, people like you are paving ways, and Kanye in the fashion industry, where they try to tell us that I love high fashion. I've always loved high fashion, even though I ain't got the funds for it. But I feel like in fashion, it's not about how much you pay, it's
Right.
what you
True.
can piece
True.
together, you know, when you don't have the money for it. But like the all black, like I don't know. And I just like really give respect to people, especially in places that black people are not
Mhm.
allowed, like photography.
Mhm. Mhm.
Candace is here. Like I said, fashion, just areas where they
And so,
tell us we can't
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah.
And we're showing up and we're showing out. And like I said, I appreciate
Well,
this energy exchange, and just like you say,
okay.
I'm sorry, just one more thing,
Yeah,
like the
Johnny.
company we keep
Hey.
and who I'm aligning with, online and social media. And it's just everywhere. I'm in meetings now, with, my current position with VPs that are making millions of dollars that are flying jets. And that energy is different. Is different. And I'm just blessed to be around, and I'm always around
Yeah,
men,
yeah.
but men that make a lot of money, and I'm blessed to be in that energy and being exposed to
So
that.
that,
I really am.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I appreciate
I'm
this.
I'm glad you thought about me, and I appreciate the kind words. I would add that it's a reason that you are around those men because it's something you're supposed to gain. So take it all in and make sure
Mm,
that you deliver on what the universe is given to you because it's not by accident that you're in that position. You know? And I would say that
right.
going all the way back to the beginning of the fashion career, my problem with being done a certain way and people trying to regulate me, regulate me in streetwear was that there would be no Gucci, there would be no Louis Vuitton without so-called black people. So I know, you know what I'm saying? I know, I will always know what high fashion is. We are the curators of it. We consume it. So to
Right.
tell me that I don't know what I'm doing, I'm in Italy. You know what I'm saying? I've been on the other side. I know what I'm doing. And the
Right.
people that know we know what we're doing. So all I'm gonna say is that we have to stop trading creation for money. You see? Because the other side doesn't do that.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? They stick with the plan no matter what. Right. And so
For
so
nothing.
and so
For
yeah, we've
nothing.
been dealt a blow, but if we what I understand about uh, people, no matter what color they are, all they got to do is work together. All they got to do is work together.
Mm.
Working together solves the problem. And you might not get everybody on your side, but if you find the right tribe, small group of people, right, then you never know where they can take you. You know, and I would say, you know, um, I have all types of clients. You know, I only have a handful of so-called black clients in the fashion industry. So most of my
Mm.
clients would be considered lighter skin or white, but I'm very close to them. We
Right.
don't have any problems with one another. And it's a
Right.
camaraderie and an energy that flows with us. And if it didn't work that way, we wouldn't be doing business in the first place because, yeah, that's how it is.
Frequency.
So when you're in the atmosphere of these people that make a lot of these men who make a lot of money unique, it's a reason for it. Enjoy it, learn from it, and watch what the universe does.
Well, one thing my boss does tell me, and this has been amazing because I never
Mhm.
worked under a
Yeah.
boss, yet alone a man, that
Mm.
that told me to be me. He said that I'm way bigger than what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And I work at a Fortune 500 company, and he's worked with the police department, like he's done things, this
Mhm.
man is 50, 60 something years old. And he
Yeah.
said he's never worked with somebody like me. ever. And he tells me to just do me and just go forth and be great. Like, he does
Yeah,
not try
yeah.
to shine my light, you know? And, you know, but like you said, you know, we have similar life experiences. The more I talk with this
Right.
man, you know, it's a mentorship, you know, with me and him. And he likes the
Right.
fact that I'm a woman and I'm a black woman, you know, not only, you know, whatever his personal, you know, goals or whatever, but it looks good for the company. And, you know, he likes me as a person. And he says, you're an immaculate, efficient person. Like, it's not a lot of people out there. And I'm starting to realize like how above average I am with certain things. And it took me a while
Right.
to understand, like, why am I here? It's 5 older white guys every day on the call, and it's just my little, you know, black face, and I'm a woman, you know, and I'm hearing this, and it was awkward at first. You know, I have to present my part, you know, in the weekly meeting and give my information, but I know what I'm doing. I know my job. I know what I'm talking about. I get results. I'm resolution based, and I'm starting to
Sure.
see it's about frequency, right? It doesn't matter my background. So what? This is where I came from. This
Yeah.
is where I'm at,
That's all that matters.
right? And it's just understanding that, you know, understanding that and that frequency
Right.
shift. And sometimes it is scary, you know, and learning things like when I got promoted, I I did negotiations. I did some research and I found out that women do not negotiate. Men
Right.
are more likely to negotiate their rate. And so I negotiated and I threw back a number at them and they gave one to me and I'm like,
Sure.
add a couple more thousand of
Sure.
that, and they agreed with it based on, you know, my skill set. And I'm like, oh my God, like you know, I started realizing my worth and just started realizing why I'm kind of around men. Men are a little bit more assertive. Like, it's okay, you know, find that balance, but utilize that masculine energy in ways that work, you know. And I just realized that about women, we're not that assertive when it
Well,
comes to asking for
I'm
money.
going to say something. I want to say two things. One, unique is that when you're around people, it's always good to talk to people because when you talk to people, you realize how much you do have in common, even though they might not look like you. But the media paints a different picture because the media is fear based, negativity, and division. That's what they promote. And they use that because it keeps people divided. And when people are divided, they can't come together. So it's amazing that when you talk to people, how much you realize how much you have in common, even if they don't look like you. And so that should be something that you keep in mind. Now, with regards to what your boss said, no one likes a fake. So he said, be you. Everybody loves genuine people. Even if the person that loves the genuine person is a fraud himself. People like genuine people
Right.
because they can count on genuine people. They know what they're getting from genuine people, you know. So I would say always be yourself. And again, going back to, you don't know how long you're going to be at this company or where the universe is going to move you to, but they're setting up the path. So enjoy the ride, learn from it, act on it, and do the best you can so you can get the launch point wherever you're going next. That's what I would say, you know.
I appreciate that. I've been in a great financial situation and it got better when COVID started, unfortunately. Like, so yeah, I'm definitely not complaining. I'm starting to appreciate and understand this is it's mine. I worked for it. Um, any more tips? I mean, you gave us so many tips on trading, tracking, following crypto. Is there anything
I would
else you want to
say
add?
right now, I would, okay, I got to give my disclosure. Me personally, I invest in Bitcoin. I invest in Ethereum, right? I wouldn't sleep on Litecoin either, right? Because, you know, in 2017, the top three, it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Litecoin is not done yet, you know. In fact, on the Economist magazine, I posted this on my my Instagram page for the Crypto Magician. There's an Economist magazine, and it's like an abstract photograph. And in that photograph, there are the logos of a few crypto coins or tokens. Figure out what they are and why they're there and why they're placed in certain areas. And then you'll see what's happening. You see? So I would dollar cost average those, because even though Bitcoin is still high, too high for most of us to buy in and buy a full coin right now. In the early days, you could have done it. You still can be in that 1% if you dollar cost average right now, because there will only be 21 million Bitcoin minted ever, and that's fast coming to an end. So right now, you know, we blow money on the weekend and stuff, whether it be on fast food, whatever it may be, right? But if we set aside 20, 30, $40 a week and we said I'm buying some Bitcoin or some Ethereum, you'd be amazed at what that produces over a year. So I would dollar cost average into that. I would, you know, thinking like the person I am, if I was going to give some advice, I would say that you need to focus on DeFi projects and Web3 projects and NFT projects, you know, and not really get focused on the art, remember, because we're going to go way past that, you know, but DeFi, Web3. And when I say Web3, I'm including the metaverse in that too, because like that one tip I gave out about that coin, if you look at it and what it's done over the last, let's see, I think Bitcoin hit 67,000 in November or something. Now, if you look from November to now, that coin, although everything was going down, that coin kept going up. So every now and I'll drop something like that, you know, with the message I'm trying to convey is that you need to pay attention to this coin, and if possible, still get some. And it's still low at the point where you can still gobble up a lot of it. So when it does what it does, you can make a lot of money off of it.
So Candace, I believe the magazine was
the
The
Economist
Economist.
magazine. Yeah, and they're always
And also
every year in an esoteric way telling you what's up. If you got the eye, you can count on it.
Okay.
Because that's how they communicate, you know.
So in our community, you know, we're really not into like stuff like that, the economy, economists, and I pretty much got exposed to like
Okay.
Thomas Sowell. He's the only Black economist I know, but I know he's very prominent and efficient. So, like, do you know any other, you know, economists for people to kind of look into, to get familiar with, so we can start understanding how this country really works?
I really don't concentrate on men, so I couldn't give you any names right now. I focus on the things that are being said, and I research the things that are being said, you know.
So do you know his work?
I've heard of
Are you
him, but I'm not
with
too
his
familiar
work?
with it. I haven't dived deep into it to find out what's happening. No.
Yeah, he's conservative. I think he's a Republican. But I just like the ideas and the audiobooks that I've been reading. I really like his perspective, you know, and his take on things. And it's just different from what I've been hearing. And just like how we've been talking about, you know, when it comes down to it, people are human, we're souls, we all relate. And I'm just getting this message from people, especially older Black men or people that lived in that time. And it's just like, it really wasn't the way that people are trying to paint things, you know. So it's just interesting. And I just want to throw that out there for people too, you know. And I just love it. Like I said, I love seeing people of color in situations and professions where we would not just see them otherwise, you know.
You know,
so
what, you know,
definitely.
Nothing lasts forever, Unique. And so a picture has been painted and it's being destroyed because it wasn't true. And I'm not getting on politics at all, but when you look in the Constitution, it has nowhere is the word democratic brought out. It's a republic. You know what I'm saying? So understand that the so-called Black people of the land were Republicans first, then that in itself moves you in a different direction. So,
Man, look, I was independent. I was Democrat, then I was independent. I voted for Obama, and then I fell back independent. And then as times changed, I said, you know what? For my political, what I want to connect with, I'm
Right,
going
right.
on somewhere else. So that's what I affiliate with, and I get nasty looks or whatever. But I'm about representation and morals and what things fundamentally, kind of stuff for. And I just don't align with anything
Right.
that the blue team is perpetuating, or I
Yeah.
just don't align,
So you
even
got to keep that
it
eye open.
just
My thing is this, um, and I'm not a cheerleader for any team. I'm looking at things,
right,
and when things don't add
right,
up, they don't make sense. So at the end of the day, even some of those in red, the Republicans, right, made sure that your jobs went to foreign lands. Are they really for you? You see?
right,
So at the end of the day, who
right,
is for you? And people can appeal to emotional desires. You were saying, women don't really negotiate. That's because they're more emotional. You know what I'm saying? That's not a bad thing because everything has its
right,
place. So women,
right,
we need emotion from women. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's not good in a work setting because of emotion, it keeps you from negotiating a pay raise whereas a man is like,
right,
I ain't working for that. You know what I'm saying? Right to it. That's right,
right, off the
right
rep,
to it. So
off the
balance,
rep,
it's always about balance. And you might have things that you connect with. You have a lifestyle that you want to be in. And these people are catering to that lifestyle. But that has nothing to do with life. That's a lifestyle. And so we inject it in politics, and you vote for this individual because they're, kowtowing and telling you, yeah, we down with that. And then they hit you with some regulation that you never saw coming, and your life is effed up forever. You see? So it's layers of secrecy and plans built on top of emotion and manipulating people's emotional desires and needs. And I would just say, stop falling for that. That's why we're in a position that we're in. Right, right.
Black people so emotional.
Yeah,
Black people emotional. Boy, we emotional
yeah.
people. And it's a good thing and it's a
Right,
bad thing. And we are giving people. We give. That's why our culture has been taken, because we gave it.
right, right.
And we're trustworthy. Contrary to what people try to make us believe. Everything they try to make us think that we are. We're giving, loving people. We like to incorporate people into our
Yeah.
life. We like to welcome people,
We don't
and it
get
was
welcome,
taken
but we
advantage
welcome
of.
everyone. And so that says, and that says a lot.
Right.
So at some point, I live by the notion that I know this about women. If a woman has a man that she likes, has been with, right, and he's no longer acting right, she's leaving him. She's going to get to a point where she's out of there. So why doesn't that happen with politics? Because hey, this man in blue been cheating on you forever. He's been doing you wrong.
Because they want to act like us, because the politician
Exactly
can play
right,
the
right,
saxophone, or
right,
he can speak Ebonics, or
right,
because, Beyonce done showed up, or Jay-Z, which
right, right.
I'm not going to talk about him. But, because these people come out and, first of all, when Hillary showed up with like, don't insult me like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I love hip hop. But I feel insulted that they think that we all, just like Mr.
Yeah,
Biden said,
yeah.
monolithic. Like, bruh, it's a time to play. I love hip hop. I love
Right.
gangster. I love gangster rap. You feel me? Like, I know it's not my entire life and world. It's a place for that. And then for y'all to present that things and think that you're gonna get, educated people that know what's going on to
Yeah.
buy into that. It's like, that's a joke. At least maybe the other side are actually talking with people. Who's the oh my God, did he pass away? I can't remember who he was, but a brain surgeon on the Republican side. Like, they've got representation of people, especially men, in power, that are dignified looking. It's just like, stop trying to appeal to this demographic of Black people. It's
Insulting to
really
our
insulting.
intelligence. And people don't view it like that. They're like, oh, they're for us. I don't see it like that. I see it as they're against us because that insults one's intelligence, you know. So you put a rapper and you say he's down with that. What does that mean to me? I mean, you know, I like rap music, but what does that have anything? I mean, what does that have to do with the cost of bread today? You know, nothing, right?
They're like the they're like the new
Yeah.
preachers, you know, and like how in my conversation with Titus, how he was saying like
Right.
that's
Right.
the new N-word, rapper and stuff like that. And I feel like they're using them as like idols like Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
I had to like I love and I'm probably gonna get slaved for that. Like we all love Tupac, but when I start reevaluating his message and he's telling kids to pull their pants down and be a thug and not listen to their parents, like actual interviews, I'm like, you know, I understand what he represents, but I can't align with that
Right.
message. I don't
But
care
see,
if it is Tupac. You know what I mean? Like, I can't align with him telling black men, as much trouble as black men are getting into this country, for you to continue to be a nuisance to your community and not be a productive member of society. Like, why is it not
right.
cool to be a productive member
But
of
see,
society?
when Kanye would say everything he was saying the last couple of years, he was painted with a brush as being crazy, a sellout, and everything. But if you removed emotion,
Facts.
and that's difficult for us to do sometimes. But if you removed emotion from it, he was telling you, you know, this has been a choice. If I'm a rapper, why do I have to be a Democrat? He was letting you know, like at the end of the day,
Right.
and I always ask the question to women because I know women are only going to put up with so much from a man, but you put up with so much from a party, and the question is why? And you're the glue,
And they what? It's like
and they the glue,
95%
right, and they're the
of the
glue
vote or
making
more.
sure that this party is still together. When if the so-called black woman removed herself from that party would collapse because no one would be on his side. Right.
And we're not gaining anything. I mean, majority, generally speaking,
Right.
black women, single household. I grew up in
Right.
one. I'm not married. Debt. I mean, yeah, we're
Yeah.
all educated,
Right.
including myself. I'm in that boat. I'm a PhD,
Yeah.
right? Like how Kevin Samuel says, even though I'm a married woman, but you know, we're accruing. We're the most
Yeah.
educated in the country. That means debt. Like nobody looks at, you know, so you're a woman with debt, and then you know if you want to try to have a relationship with somebody because you know for some reason men ain't shit and we shouldn't care about nothing about them and they should take care
Which
of
is
us.
another
It's like
perpetual circle that
this
goes
world is
around
crazy.
and around and around. Right.
Right, yes, this is yeah, this is some
Yeah.
interesting times that
Yeah.
we're
But
in for sure. But does anybody in the comments? I'm sorry, y'all. We really haven't been paying attention, but this conversation has just been just rolling. Does anybody have anything they want to comment on that they weren't able to really, you know, have us look into right now?
yeah, they are
People are
hypnotized.
hypnotized. Kanye wants to save the
Yeah.
children. Yes, he does. I love Kanye. I call him the supreme leader of the Black Republicans.
Kanye, he's trying to tell it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with his energy. I'm with everything he's doing.
And
I
you know,
love his thought
Kanye
process.
was telling it when he came out with his first album. That's why life went that way for him. That's why,
Mm.
you know, they got to get you caught up in everything, you know, to pour water on that fire that was coming out. So he was talking a lot, you know, and we need something to put this fire out because it's going to be too hot in here. So and they worked it, you know, but hopefully he's coming back to who he is and he's saying it, you know, and I'm not saying anything about mental health, but I don't even buy all that, you know. I
I
mean,
don't. He's a genius. He's a genius. There's no way you break the market plan. You break all types of things, especially with financial education. Like,
right.
man, get out of here. I'm not even buying that. That man's a
And I
genius.
think
I'm not buying none of
right. I
that.
mean, all the things that
Candace,
happened to Kanye with regards to working in the fashion industry was the way it was supposed to be, in the sense that he needed to see that he didn't need them; they needed him because they needed him. They used him for what they needed. But Kanye never needed them. They just led you to believe that. If you have, you know, 20 million followers following you for a reason, you don't need anybody. You can accomplish a lot, right? And that's why they put
exactly.
algorithms in Instagram because they couldn't control what people was doing and the following that they would have, so they make it look like you don't have the numbers, but if you have a business account, you're able to go into insights and you can prove to the world what's really going on, but they'll paint a picture. I know in the beginning, I would put up a post on Official Bespoke Couture and we would get minimum 900 likes. It was a video of something to be 2, 3, 4, 5,000. Now you don't see that, but when you go on the insights, you do. And so
and see, yeah, they did the same thing to me, and they know what they're doing, and then they talk about, oh, it's not shadow banning and all this other stuff, and that's why I try to tell people, especially when I do my business classes,
exactly.
like likes don't mean sales. Right. Likes don't mean sales.
Right. And you
don't
think
get
about
that twisted.
Whatever people think about Trump, he came out with his social media network, and it almost broke the internet. So many people joined. So people are done with regulation, not being able to speak out. At the end of the day, we're on these platforms for free and someone else is making money off of it. So if we can't speak freely, why are we on them? So we should go where we're appreciated, where we can make money off of it, and that doesn't include them. And so I think everything that they have is going to come to an end, because if your goal is to silence people and make people acquiesce to the agenda that you want to push through, then it will be a few that stick with your agenda, but many will leave it, and I think that's where we are,
Right. Candace says, I wish Kanye loved black women. He's never uplifted one. Yeah, I mean, Kim Kardashian, I know people don't like to hear it, but she's, she's a person of color. She is Armenian. She does have, the Armenian background. And I mean, I really don't have anything to say to that. I mean, I kind of, I know people aren't human. Aren't perfect. I know sometimes we put people on God status, and expect, perfection from people, but everybody's flawed. I mean, we want to talk about men in the Bible, people in the Bible, I don't have an answer for that, or a comment. I mean, that could be true, especially I know if Candace is saying it, then that's, we do her research, so I don't have a comment for that. That's a good perspective to bring to the conversation.
Some men like what they like, what I'm saying, and that's on them, I still think what he's saying is the truth. We can't discount that. Whatever he does in his private life, I know how it can look phony. But I think still what he says is the reality. And some men like what they like.
And he's a marketer too. I mean, she says he did a casting call. Now he's a marketing genius. And I know in some, I don't know what he's thinking, but I do know that, maybe it's marketing reasons. I don't know. I mean, we all know that he's about marketing and, doing things for controversy. And, it's a Michael Jackson tactic, which people don't realize. People are attacking Kanye, and Michael Jackson put out all those rumors and things about him to keep his name going. So,
and 99.9% of what you hear in the media is a lie anyway. So. So right. Trust me, it ain't what it appears to be. It's not. So people do things for different reasons, but he still. I look at it like this: every being that comes to this plane of existence has a mission. We might not like how that mission is played out by this person, but they have a mission.
Right.
And they need to fulfill it, and so. As long as they do what they came here to do, that's all that matters to me. That's all.
Right. Yeah. So this was awesome. I'm all questioned out. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation with me. And of course, I mean, whenever we want to have the conversation to kind of update people, keep people abreast to the information on cryptocurrency and what's kind of moving on. Like I'm always open and available, to have the conversation for sure. And other things. I mean, we kind of connect on a lot of different subjects and experiences. So, I mean, whatever we choose to conversate from is always
you still on Clubhouse? Beneficial. You still doing stuff on Clubhouse? Okay. Yeah, we can connect on there. I mean, I would love to do some stuff on cryptocurrency over there as well. I would say stay connected with the Instagram page and the other links that I provided to you. I'm going to be dropping more and more. I started the YouTube channel. I had some problems. I updated my computer, had some issues, so I wasn't able to post videos after the first day because Apple has been working on the computer to try to get it back to what it's supposed to be doing. So um, hopefully over the weekend I'll get back to where I need to be and start posting on Monday. But yeah, I'm always here, and you know, you can always reach out. And if you decide to do something on Clubhouse regarding crypto, let's do it. I always appreciate it.
All right, totally. All
Okay.
right,
All
I'll
right.
talk to you
Bye-bye.
later. Thanks.
You too.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right.